On this episode of Right Tool for the Job series, we've got Anthony Fainga'a.
I'll be talking about labour hire, traffic control, and a little bit of rugby, and more importantly, my business, Moonyah WorkForce.
Let's get it rolling. Hi Anthony, how you going?
Well,
Thanks for joining us today for the Right Tool for the Job series.
thanks for the opportunity.
So, illustrious career, running a business now. But with all that, obviously there's a rugby career at the start. Maybe we'll just wind back and kind of start there before we kind of get into the business side.
As you mentioned, rugby was very good to me. I travelled the world, I played for my country. So there's many great stories, and I think for me, rugby and just sport in general is something just that is just been a massive part of my life. And I think sport in general is great because, good, bad, or whatever, you still have to work with that person or that team to come up with a common goal.
Yep.
So there's lots of parts of the business now that I sort of implement that are very similar to what we have in the rugby scene.
In the rugby world. And tell me, when you finished rugby and you retired from rugby, how did you find that transition? Because obviously a career in rugby is relatively short, I guess. So how did you find the transition and going into the retirement kind of?
Yeah, well, I was very lucky. I started my MBA in 2016.
Yep.
Before I went to Japan, and on the way back, I had an option to go to France, and I thought, I have to look after my head, so I retired because of concussion. And for me, if I didn't have kids at that time, I sort of would have just blasted through and went over and played, but I couldn't do the respect that I needed to myself and to my kids, and I had to look after my noggin.
Yeah.
So
right, yeah.
I stayed, and we came up to Queensland, and I kept going on with the MBA journey.
Yep.
So that transition, transition part was obviously, it was hard, but really great as well.
Yeah.
So now we're into the business world, and all those lessons through the MBA and through rugby have sort of set me up really well for the next journey.
Yeah. And tell us about the next journey. So the business, Moonyah. What exactly do you do? Like, what products do you offer?
What do we do? I've been very lucky to start Moonyah WorkForce. So Moonyah WorkForce is a traffic control company and a labour hire company.
Yep.
So what we do is and everyone goes, labour hire, but for me it's such a great opportunity to be able to give people that have been out of work, in work, or don't see themselves working full time, an option to be able to, or an opportunity to get into the workplace.
Yep. And what's the focus on the people you're hiring? Is it indigenous people predominantly that you're hiring, or is it all types of people, or what is that?
So for us, we are an indigenous company.
Yep.
And we work really hard with the indigenous community.
Yep.
We give anyone the opportunity. I believe black, white or yellow.
Yep.
If you want to work, I want to give you an opportunity.
Yep.
I say to anyone that walks in our door, I'll go and chase the work to be able to help you.
Yep.
Get back into work, but also I need a commitment from you. So you meet me halfway, I'll go and find the work, but you need to make sure you communicate if you can and can't go to work, or if you say you're going to do something, we deliver on that. Yeah,
100%. And what do you find in terms of getting employees at the moment? Because out in the market, everyone's talking about there's not much talent, there's not many employees. How are you finding that in terms of your business?
It's extremely difficult, and we've had to bring on 2 more recruiters for that reason. And but as I mentioned, I think the flow will go always up and down. And at the moment, we're at a labour shortage, and that'll flip on its head. For right now, we need to put in and implement really clear strategies around that recruitment.
Yep.
And make sure we still keep bringing on the best candidates, because we don't want to get burnt by sending out the wrong candidate to the wrong client or to any of our clients, because we want to be a company that's still here in 10 and 15 and 20 years' time.
Yeah. And tell me, what lessons do you take from rugby into business? Because at the start there you said, you'd learn a lot of that and you were kind of transferring some of those skills. So what are those skills? What are the things you learnt there that you're going to bring into the business world?
Well, very simply, labour hire is a bit like rugby, where I can have someone out for a month and that worker's doing really well. He has one sick day. all of a sudden we'll send someone in, the project manager or whatever will give me a call and say, oh, don't worry about the guy that's been there for a month.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like my rugby career, one game, and then I can be rissoled in and someone else will take my spot. But what have I learnt and what have I taken forward? I suppose rugby's a sport where if you're fat, slow, smart, dumb, tall, short, there's a position for you.
Yep.
In business, it doesn't matter, smart, dumb, whatever it is, we need to work collectively to win the games.
Yep.
And I think bringing that together, bringing those, and also paying attention to every part of the business. Yep. And giving the respect that it needs to every part of the business, making sure they all work collectively. Yep. To win, or in my case, hit our targets at the end of the month.
Yep. And your targets, what are the long-term goals for the business? So where do you want to kind of be in, if we're talking to you in 5 years, where do you kind of see the business going?
So we've sort of set it up, and Sarah and I are very, Sarah's more so, but we're quite ambitious. And for me as a young kid, if I go way back, I wanted to play for the Wallabies, and we lived in Queanbeyan, and we would run on the streets. My father, we lived in a pub, and there wasn't a whole lot of opportunity there. Yep. And everyone thought, oh geez, these kids won't play for anyone, and let alone for their state or for their country. Yep. So through hard work, we sort of worked our way through. We went to a good school, then we went and played for the Brumbies, and then the Reds, and then the Wallabies. Yep. And that's, I set those goals. They weren't money driven or anything like that. Very similar in this business now. Set a goal to be a listed company. Yep. And being listed for us, it means you're compliant. Yep. It means that mum and dads or brokers are investing hard-earned money into our business. Yep. Therefore, we're creating a really profitable business that people want to buy into. Yeah. And something that's sustainable. So for us, that's where we want to get to. Yep. Obviously, we know there's a lot of hard work. Yep. And they're kind of the key steps, and anything that doesn't align with that, it allows us to sort of cut that and move it, and just be really, really clear on where we're going with the traffic control and the labour hire. Otherwise, the little stuff does start creeping in. So
a bit of noise in the outside.
That's right, all that
changes.
white noise, and you want to do a bit of this, you want to do a bit of that. So we try to keep it really clear. We're simple people. Yep. So we don't want to try and confuse anyone. So we've got our goal now. Let's all guns blazing for that. Yeah.
And tell me this: if you went back and you could tell yourself when you were younger a bit of advice, like if you had one piece of advice to give to a younger you, what would that be?
I don't know. Probably enjoy the moment. Yeah. Up until I was sort of mid-20s or 20, not into my 30s, I never took a break. I sort of just work, and I was always so worried that someone may take my position. And when you only know rugby and you live and breathe it, and I wouldn't have sick days, or I wouldn't let anyone train in my position. I just enjoy that. We went to South Africa, travelled the world. I would have said enjoy the moments that we have. Yep. And stop, worrying about the things that you can't control. Yeah. Oh, that's an amazing piece of advice. What is it? Control the controllables and don't worry about the uncontrollables, because there's no point worrying about those. And I think as a young person, I think you're always looking so far ahead. What if? And they never stop. Yep. But through hard work and patience and all of the rest of it, they sort of sort itself out. So, through patience and enjoying those moments, I probably would have got better results. Yep. I believe. But I can't go back, and I'm very happy where I am now. And tell us about Moonyah again. How do people get on board, or people want to support the cause out there? Obviously, principal contractors and stuff like that. And how do people get on board? Not just from a client perspective, but from an employee perspective as well. From an employee perspective, and I think across the board we're working in Cleanaway, so the waste management, civil construction, so there's lots of different industries we're in. Give us a call, pick up the phone, go to the Moonyah Moonyah WorkForce Instagram page or the Moonyah WorkForce Facebook page and get in touch.
Yep.
All we need is for you to have a white card, or our HR guys will actually tell, our HR guys and girls will tell you exactly what you need.
Yep.
But if you need work, we've got, if you need work, we've got the work.
Yeah, right.
So pick up the phone and let us help you.
Yeah, amazing. And on a client perspective, you're out there trying to get more work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I suppose we work with a lot of the councils and we work with a lot of the state and federal governments. So we need to build a bit of a brand awareness and make sure that we've got some, just some support to say you guys have been in the business for a little bit longer. Yep. Where we're getting these small wins. So it may look like we've picked up a defence job over in WA, which is going to be so beneficial for our business. Yep. And that's on Garden Island in WA, working with Lend-Lease and the Department of Defence. So really special to be on that. And we're on a few big tenders on the Gold Coast and the Gold Coast Council. So any of those that we get through would be fantastic. Yep. And I suppose taking the chance on the smaller business. And understanding that we do have the experience. Yep. And we will, if we don't, we'll find someone that does to deliver their jobs.
Oh, it sounds amazing, and it's definitely a cause that people should be jumping on. So thank you for coming along today, mate. Really appreciate you coming to do the interview. If this content was helpful for your business, make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't forget to click the notification bell. That way you'll get notified whenever I post a video.